A very good morning to the Consortium of English Language Teaching. I am Raghuram. Today I am with you to share my views related to teaching of vocabulary. Dear friends, we all are human beings and we identify ourselves with linguistic communication. It is the specific human phenomenon. And I mean to say, only humans can communicate using a language. A language which is defined should have a system of words, system of pronunciation, and system of utterances. But broadly speaking, every defined human language will have its own system of pronunciation, which is called phonetics and phonology, and system of words, which includes morphology and semantics, and the system of word order in the utterances, that what we call syntax. In today's session, I would like to focus on a particular aspect of language, which is vocabulary. Okay. I would like to share my screen. All right. And this session is on introduction to teaching of vocabulary. And a defined human language, we have already stated, and every defined human language will have the system of sounds and system of words and system of word order. So if somebody says, I know a language, means what? We all know Telugu or Urdu or English, means what do we know about the language? Frankly speaking, if I know a language means I know its characteristics. I mean to say, I know the sound system of the language. I know the words, the corpus of words in that language. And I know the word order, which is fixed in most of the languages. Right. So knowing the language means being able to arrange the words in the meaningful order in utterances or sentences. So I mean to distinguish between utterances and sentences. And we communicate using language, and our communication, particularly linguistic communication, is twofold. It could be oral as well as written. When we consider oral communication, we have to work with phonetics and phonology and utterances and all. And when we come to written communication, we have to work with graphemes or letters and words and the conventions of writing or written discourses. In both cases, while either oral communication or written communication, vocabulary is vital, is very important. And when we come to vocabulary, we should know two issues. One is morphology, that means how words are formed in a particular language, and semantics, and how words convey meaning in various contexts. Okay, So I know a language, or anyone knowing a language means being able to arrange the words in the meaningful order in either utterances or sentences. And knowing a language means being able to use its sound system properly. I mean to say, phonetics and phonology. And this actually distinguishes a native speaker from a non-native speaker, because in everywhere we know how a native speaker delivers his utterances. And most cases for non-native speakers, the impact of mother tongue is very predominant. So in today's world, we cannot say native language or non-native language, or native English or non-native English. There are two varieties of English. One is native English and the second one is global English. And as far as a language in general, or as far as English in particular is concerned, our communication must be, or our utterances, our use of speech must be audible, intelligible, and comprehensible. It should not lead to any misunderstanding. If somebody says in a conference, and if someone says snakes are ready, what will happen? People run away. So he should have said snacks are ready. But what I mean to say, might be in his particular language, the phoneme might not occur, and instead of that, he must have used a, and that led to confusion. It happens mostly in Hindi or even North Indian languages where you don't have short vowels like a and o, and what will happen? So they don't find the difference between test and taste. That could lead that could lead to many issues. Anyway, come back to vocabulary. So knowing a language means being able to use its phonetics and phonology, our sound system. And knowing a language means being able to use the purpose of words accurately and get the meaning contextually. This is very important. Somebody knows a language does not mean someone knows a language. And knowing words and using words in proper context are equally important, right? So at a basic level, what is vocabulary? If somebody has, if someone knows number of words, and for example, Winston Churchill, and he has a range of around 50,000 words. So what we say, oh, Churchill had a wide range of vocabulary. So coming back to the slot, coming back to the session, vocabulary basically means knowing words. Okay. What does it mean by knowing words? I know a word. What does it mean? What can I do with the word? What do I know about the word? So first, knowing a word means knowing its spelling and spelling variations. Nowadays, we have been observing many variations in spelling, particularly British and American English, and so many varieties of English. And there are certain changes, certain variations in spelling, but that matters a little. As long as it doesn't disturb the meaning in context. So knowing a word means knowing its spelling as well as spelling variations. Here I have given you a few examples. Color, and the first one is in the British English, and the second one is American English. And similarly, argument, and so many words are there, but they matter very little. And knowing a word means knowing its word class or parts of speech. So whether it is a noun or a verb or adjective or adverb, and in particular context, here I have given you two sentences. I water the plants every morning, and water is precious. Here the same word water is used in two sentences, but in the first sentence, I water the plants every morning, here it stands as a verb, whereas in the second sentence, water is precious, here water functions as a noun. So knowing a word means knowing its word class. And knowing a word means knowing the synonyms and antonyms, how words go together. So for example, if you take a word big, what are the possible synonyms you can give? Huge, vast, colossal, gigantic. Similarly, happy, And the positive synonyms we can give: pleasant, joyful, merry, sad. If you go for antonyms, big, the opposite are small, tiny, trivial, and little. And happy, the antonyms are sad, gloomy, sorrowful. So knowing the words means knowing its synonyms as well as antonyms. And knowing a word means knowing its pronunciation. So we know the variations in pronunciation like vitamin and vitamin, data and data, often or often, answer and answer, mobile or mobile, simultaneous and simultaneous, schedule and schedule, better and better. So knowing a word means knowing its pronunciation and variations in pronunciation. Right. Knowing a word means knowing its meaning. It is in connotative as well as denotative. Denotative means direct meaning that will not change, or rather you can say dictionary meaning, whereas connotative meaning is contextual meaning. For example, if you take a word red, the word red can be used in context like red face and red letter day. And contextually it refers to, it gives us different meanings. So if someone has red face means he's very angry, and red letter day, it's a very, very important day. And similarly, green goes with green fingers and green house. If someone has green fingers means he or she is good at gardening, and greenhouse we know very well. And black, you can go with black day, black widow, black sheep, or even black market, blackmail. There are so many variations. So dear friends, knowing the word means knowing its meaning contextually, connotatively, as well as denotatively. And knowing a word means knowing the derivatives. And what are the other possible words we can get using affixation? And mostly, as far as English word formation, morphology is concerned, the strategies for derivatives are: one is affixation, means using either prefixes or suffixes or infixes. Infix means we change the medial vowel, like goose and geese, and foot and feet. And prefixes we know we add at the beginning of the stem, whereas suffixes we add at the end of the stem, right? For example, if you take the words music, the possible words are musical, musician, and from diplomat, diplomacy and diplomatic. And photograph, the possible words are photography and photographic. So knowing the word means knowing the derivatives. And knowing a word means knowing the collocations. This is the specific particular feature of English language. In English, we have collocations and how words go together. And this makes the difference between a native speaker as well as non-native speaker. So a strong T, you can say it's a weak T. The opposite word is weak T. And you write a letter, but you take an exam. Normally in Indian context, we say, I'm writing an exam, writing an exam. As far as this expression is concerned, it won't suit. The collocation is wrong. So we should say, write a letter and take an exam, and do a course and take a class, and make a mistake and commit a crime, and mend the shoe and repair the TV. So knowing a word means knowing the collocations, and knowing a word means knowing the stylistic uses. So this is, excuse me, this is very important. I know word, and we know words, and we should be able to use them in the stylistic manner. For example, draw blank, and under the weather, on cloud nine, pass the buck, and they are all very good examples for idioms. And every language has idioms, as well as in Telugu we have jatiyalu. And idioms give us a totally different meaning. If somebody says drawn a blank means he has not understood anything. And if someone is not feeling well, I'm under the weather today. And if someone is very happy, you say, I am on cloud nine, or I am on the top of the world. And pass the buck. It happens if some mistake happens, we project on somebody else. So generally, many human beings pass the buck, and that means they make someone responsible for a mistake. And call it a day means ending the slot or session. So I believe at 11 o'clock, we have to call it a day. And start the ball rolling means start beginning a discussion or a meeting. So who can start the ball rolling means who is going to start the session. At 9 o'clock, I have started the ball rolling. Excuse me. So, dear friends, when we come to vocabulary, it doesn't mean just knowing words. And vocabulary means knowing all about words. And if I know a word means, I should know its spelling, its meaning, its word class, its pronunciation, its word association, synonyms and antonyms, and the possible ways of using the words in stylistic manner. Okay. Here, I have given you an activity. So spend a few minutes and try to match the following. And here, the keyword is partner. The options are given for colleague, ally, accomplice, and pal. So I request you to interact now.
Sir, good morning, sir. This is Vishnu.
Okay, Vishnu. Very good morning.
Good morning, sir. Colleague profession.
Thank you. Colleague, no, I mean to say the keyword is partner, and among the four, which word joins, which word is very close to partner? Yeah, you're right. As we said, colleague is associated with the job or profession. And what could be ally? Okay. And colleague goes with profession.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, colleague goes with job or profession. And what could be ally?
Sir, shall we go friendship, sir?
Ali, yes. Ali goes with friendship. And what about accomplice?
Generally, friend, sir.
Accomplice also friend? Sure.
Accomplish.
Accomplice.
Yes, yeah. Maybe, sir.
You can use technology, no problem. Actually, accomplice has something, and somebody who helps in doing a crime. Okay, you can say accomplice is a co-criminal.
Yeah.
Co-criminal. Okay, so accomplice as well as and pal. Very informal word. You know, pal is a very, very simple and very informal word, dear friends. Who could be our pal? Yeah, we all know about pen pal. Okay, right. Dear friends, here I think partner, can partner become a colleague? There could be a problem. Okay, colleague generally when we are working in a particular organization, we become colleagues, and ally is particularly, you know, for example, you can say Israel is a good ally of India and accomplice and Paul. Okay, a small correction here, my dear friends. Partner will go with business. Okay, some mismatch here. I'm sorry. So partner will go with profession. You can, I'm sorry, business. Generally say a business partner. And if you go to the second one, felony. Who could be felony? Felony. Yeah, felony will go with a crime. Felony will go with a crime. So could be a friend, but in particular, when you are going for matching words, and we should be very careful. And generally, we can say a partner, a business partner, you can say, and felony is someone, okay, who is a friend, but related to a crime. Okay. And here is another activity. And please identify the head word.
Sir, shall I, sir?
Fly. I request our participants to.
Yes. Sir, insects, first one.
Okay. If you see the words fly, ant, mosquito, bee, insect. You can say all these words fly, ant, mosquito, bee are insects. So in this lot, insect is the head word. Thank you very much for your contribution. So please come to the second slot, and I request all the other participants also to interact. Suitcase, trunk, like.
Sir, it is truck, sir.
Luggage. So, you know, suitcase, trunk, luggage, handbag, and hold all. This word, hold all, we all know it's a round shaped, very long bag we have seen. So it's called hold all. So dear friends, the head word in the second category is luggage. And here, ankle, wrist, joint, knuckle, and elbow. Let us find the head word in this slot. Ankle, wrist,
Elbow.
sorry? Ankle, wrist, joint, knuckle.
Ankle.
It is a joint, sir.
Thank you very much. Joint and all the other ankle, wrist, elbow are examples of joints. So, thank you very much for your contribution. Joint is the head word, and here is another activity. Right. Here in this lot, I request you to identify the odd word. Court, lawyer, jury, author, and conviction.
Author, sir.
Sorry?
Author.
Author,
Yeah,
sir.
all these words, court, lawyer, jury, bench of judges, and conviction, accepting the crime. So these words will go together. Author, court, lawyer, jury, and conviction are similar. So the odd one in the first slot is author. Please come to the second slot. Agreement, deal, pact, collaboration, and investigation.
Investigation, sir.
Thank you very much. So agreement, deal, pact, and collaboration are similar, and the odd one is investigation. And let's go to the third one. Storm, gust, tsunami, flash floods, and hurricanes.
This
Storm, gust, tsunami, flash, hurricane.
guest.
Sorry? Gust of wind, we know very well.
Guest, sir.
Sure?
Mm.
Okay. Let's see. What causes a storm?
What causes? Tsunami.
Storms and even monsoons.
Same words.
Right. And the
Guest
gust,
is different. Guest is different.
yeah, gust,
Meaning of-
again, it is related to atmosphere.
Yes, sir.
And storm, so is the storm. Flash,
Wow.
again, floods are also associated with atmosphere. And hurricane. Hurricane is nothing but a very, very, very strong wind, or whirlwind, you can say, that generally occurs in North America. So,
Yes, sir.
how is tsunami formed?
Yes, sir.
Tsunami related to sea.
Yeah, it is the tsunami is caused by the disturbance in the tectonic plates under the sea. So the cause of tsunami is different, and tsunami has nothing to do with the atmosphere. And tsunami is caused by the earthquake that occurs under the sea, in the
Under the
deep heart of the earth, you can say. Of course, tsunami means very strong sea waves that hit, and we have experienced the tsunami on 26th of December 2004. That
high temperature.
caused great loss to the world. So, dear friends, here I would believe that tsunami, the word tsunami is the odd one. Convinced?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So I request you to interact at every level. You please interact.
Yes, sir.
Not just one-way communication, as if somebody is watching a TV. No, I
Okay.
do, and you are all with me. Okay. Shall we go to the next activity? Right. Sorry. So this we have done, and here, try to complete the sentences. You can write on a paper, no problem. We are free.
First one, pale, sir. P-A-L-E, pale.
I request you to read all the 5 sentences. Okay. 5 sentences. Please.
Suma's face on dash on seeing her broken watch.
No, madam, reading means not read with the answer. Okay. Suma's face turned on seeing her broken watch. If your watch broken, how would you feel?
Suma's face turned pale.
Turn pale. Okay. One way it is, but my dear friend, here you have to use only colors. Colors. Instead of saying pale, you can use any color. If someone is pale, what would happen to the face?
Red.
Okay, thank you very much. Angry.
Angry. Yes, sir.
Suma's face turned red on seeing her broken watch. Okay, thank you. You can say either turned red or turned pale also. If Suma is very sad and gloomy, the face can turn white. Okay, anyway, here both are possible. And go to the second one. Her hands were cold. So you can say her hands were blue. Her hands were blue with cold. And similarly, third, Rama always paints me. How can someone paint you? And you know, the meaning is different. Rama always paints me black. It means saying something bad at every context about me. If you are painting someone black means you are saying bad about the person. And Vani has green fingers. It means Vani is good at gardening. And Suman's face is dash as a sheet. He has just seen a snake in the garden. So when you see a snake in your garden, when you see a snake in your house, how do you feel?
Afraid.
No color. I want the color. Okay, I want the color. Okay, don't worry. I'll give you the answers. Suma's face turned red. I think most of you got 5 out of 5 marks. Suma on seeing her broken watch, and her hands were blue with cold. And always paints me black. And one fingers, and Suman's
One has green
is
fingers.
as white as a sheet. He has just a snake in the garden. Right. Here is another activity.
ఇంగ్లీష్ లో ఎంతో పెట్టింది అనుకోండి చూస్తే నేను 29 నుంచి 11 వరకు పెట్టింది.
Sorry.
Madam, please mute yourself. Only when sir demands answer only. It is better, please.
Right. And here is another activity, and how these words are correct and expressions, and it is related to collocations. Identify the incorrect collocation. Strongly recommend, strongly influence, and strongly love. One is incorrect. Can we say strongly?
Strongly love, sir.
Strongly love. Yeah.
Okay. Let us see. Okay, keep your answer with you. Keep it in reserve for a moment. Strongly recommend, strongly influence, and strongly love. And highly educated, and highly unusual, and highly
రాధే బెస్ట్ రా బాబు దీనికంటే
exhausted.
విష్ణు
Right.
Highly educated.
No, keep your answers with you. Okay. And bitterly resent and bitterly criticize. So this activity is related to collocations.
స్క్రీన్ షాట్ దిద్దాం డాడీ ఉంటుంది
So it is available on YouTube. Okay.
నా స్క్రీన్ షాట్ తీసేస్తుంది ఇంకా
Right. Please see the answers. Strongly love is
ఏ ఉంచురా అది
say
అది
dear,
చింటూ ఉంచురా
deeply love. Passion. Please unmute yourselves. Please. I'm sorry. Mute your.
ఉండుగా.
Otherwise, you and only you can interact. Please. Okay. So you can say dearly love or deeply love.
Srinivas sir, unmute yourself. Raghuram sir, unmute yourself. Unmute.
Thank you.
Unmute.
Yes, I have done. Thank you very much. And highly educated and highly unusual and highly exhausted. And you can say really exhausted and totally exhausted, absolutely exhausted. We cannot say highly exhausted. And similarly, bitterly regard is a problem. And you can say highly regard, generally regard, or usually or widely. So this is related to collocations. Right. So there are other variations also possible. I'm giving you a few examples. And here, in one category, of the also possible. I'm giving you a few examples. Here, please. I request you to mute. Right. Here, let us try to match them. I cannot the tip off, call it. So in the second column, the coin, the iceberg, a day, worms, nutshell. So if you join one from group A or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the other one from A, B, C, D, or E, and we get an idiom. So a can of worms. So open the can of worms means giving scope to disputes. So let us not open the can of worms means let us not give any scope for disputes or any unnecessary discussions. And in a nutshell means brief and the tip of the iceberg. We know very little part of a big issue. It is the tip of the iceberg, and call it a day. We have already used it. And the other side of the coin means we are looking at the facet or dimension which is totally different. Technology is a boon to human beings. On the other side of the coin, it has made people lazy, right? So these are the answers. A can of worms, in a nutshell, the tip of the iceberg, and call it a day, and the other side of the coin. And here, proverbs we know very well. Every language has a rich corpus of proverbs. And here, let us try to make proverbs in English. And this activity is given in our class 7 English textbook. While the cat's away, the mice will
play.
While the cat's away, the mice will play. Means when the boss is outside, all the employees make a festival. Okay, we know very well. We experience in our schools. And one man's meat is
Another man's poison.
Another man's poison. So if something is good for you, it could be a great problem to the other person or to someone else. And every cloud has a silver lining. You should be very hopeful. Even troubles, feel optimistic, and every lining. And don't count your chickens
before they are hatched.
Before they are hatched. And it's very important. Money doesn't grow
on trees.
Money, there are so many, these idioms, proverbs are very similar. We know very well. Money doesn't grow on plants. In Telugu, we say, "Double chetla gadam ledu." We say, okay. And every cloud has a silver lining. And so, dear friends, here we are attempting on the use of words in proverbs. These are the proverbs, set proverbs. And here, in our textbook, what are the identified areas under vocabulary? And we have examples on completion of sentences, and we have examples of paragraph completion. Completion of sentences means discrete sentences. At the lower level, we have found them. And paragraph completion, spelling, and synonyms and antonyms. One-word substitutes, we have this example in class 10 textbook. And phrasal verbs and idioms, and derivatives. And these are various issues and where we can use, where we can focus on vocabulary. A few examples I have given you with reference to the textbooks. And here, how can we enhance and how can we teach vocabulary and what are the strategies? The first one is, and we have to encourage our children to read extensively. Generally, when you read a text, we never look into the meanings of the words directly. Every word, what does this word mean? What does this? We never do. But we keep reading, even though we do not understand, even though we do not get the meaning of certain words. That's what we call extensive. And might be we get the meaning in context. We get the meaning in context. So first, we have to encourage the habit of extensive reading. And particularly C reading in our textbooks are meant for extensive reading. Okay, and contextualizing words and getting the meaning in context, very important. Words have no sense unless they are used in context. So every time give scope to get the contextual meaning of the words. And word associations, very important at lower level. Related to class or classroom, immediately our children say teacher, blackboard, bench, table, piece of chalk, textbooks, notebooks, textbooks and notebooks, exercise, exams. Similarly, you throw a word like market. So they come out with a number of words, and this is one of the strategies. Right. And looking into the words and inferring how words are formed. If a word is given, and we have to find how the word is formed. For example, take a word like establishment. So the word is establish is a root and ment is a suffix. And some of such activities are given in our textbooks also. So we are looking into the word. For example, anti-sentimental. If you take a word, sentiment is a stem and anti is a prefix and all is a suffix that gives us the adjective, anti-sentimental, right? And mostly as far as English words are concerned, two issues are there, and we get new words and using affixation or using either prefixes or suffixes or changing the medial vowel, we call it infix, and compounding, blackboard, blackmail, black widow, playground, school boy, school teacher, school building are possible. Compounding. And sometimes finding word within a word, words within a word is a very good example. For example, you can say washerman. First wash men and W-A-S-H, ash. We get one and she. So this activity you can do. Finding as many words within a word, one strategy. And enhancing reference skills and using a dictionary is very important. When the children come across new words, and we have to encourage them to find meanings of their own, and the children should know how to use a dictionary and how to get the meaning. A very good dictionary will give us all the details of words and its word class, its pronunciation, meanings, and multiple meanings, and its stylistic uses. And mnemonics, it's very, very important. And mnemonics, it's a tool to remember larger chunks of information. For example, in the form of a song, maybe a rhyme, picture, and acronym. For example, we have acronyms like, news, go with the north, east, west, and south, news. And NATO, it's an acronym. Even we have abbreviations also. And similarly in mathematics and, all silver teacups. So it is related to the characteristics of the coordinates actually in the first quadrant, both the x coordinates and y coordinates are positive, and silver. If you go to second quadrant, only sign coordinates are possible, and trigonometric values, tea cups, all silver tea cups. In first quadrant, all trigonometrical features are positive, and in the second quadrant, only sine and cosec are positive, tan, cot are positive in third quadrant, and cos and sec are positive in the fourth quadrant. So very simple example. And here I have given you one more sentence. My very educated mother just served us noodles. And here the first letter of every word helps us to identify the sequence of planets. I have removed Pluto because now Pluto is not considered the member of the solar family. So in my M stands for Mercury and Venus, E stands for Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. A good example for mnemonics. And other techniques, translation, maybe in lower level, you can go with the translation. Maybe if the children are not aware of the meaning in English, and I mean the judicious use of mother tongue is always welcome. So translation and transliteration. We see in transliteration, words of other languages are used directly in English. If you take the word, the lesson, the tattered blanket, there you will find words like, Thinna and Kesari Yogam. They are all from Malayalam languages. They are from Malayalam, but we have used them. So this is a good example for transliteration. And realia means authentic materials, and any material that is not meant for academic activities, but that can be used. Take for example, a wrapper, a newspaper, a pamphlet, or a poster. So whatever it is, that called real life material, realia, that can be used in the classroom. And the children, even a small child, maybe at nursery or class 1 level, the child may not know all the alphabet, but the child will identify a Parle-G. The child will easily identify a Parle-G or a Dairy Milk chocolate or 5-star. So they get the word in toto, right? And miming also, using actions to introduce words. So we can perform the action to introduce certain words. These are some techniques. And word families, we have already discussed word families. For example, if you take a word, and what are the possible words that can be attached to the word families, like library, and what are the words possible there? Library, books, reading, knowledge, newspapers, magazines, journals, and all. And relating words, if you come across a word, then we have to give similar words like synonyms as well as antonyms, and word associations, and we have to use them in proper context, and what words can go together. And word building activities, we have already said, affixation and finding words within a word. So you can throw a word, and we can ask the children to come out with as many words as possible. For example, paint. So what are the other possible words? Paint, paints, painting, painted, painter, paintings. So these are possible. And dear friends, finally, words illumine everything. There is no language without words, and there is no word without meaning. And knowing words or knowing vocabulary means knowing the words in context and being able to use them in context in meaningful human communication. Okay, dear friends, in today's session, we got the bird's eye view of vocabulary. And vocabulary doesn't mean just knowing words. Vocabulary means knowing all the aspects of words. Vocabulary means knowing words and using them in context. And vocabulary means being able to identify them in various situations and getting as many combinations as possible. And vocabulary means being able to use them in stylistic use of language. That's all for us today. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for